And we're live. Hello guys, welcome back to Covenant Canon's monthly Q&A live streams. Well, there hasn't been live streams in I think it was a month, maybe two? I apologize for that. It's just, life's been a bit all over the place with me. But yeah, I finally got some time to kick off a live stream. For those of you guys who don't know what this is, for those who are new to the channel, I pretty much answer all the Covenant Canon Discord questions. If you don't know where my Discord is, it is simply in the description box below. All you need to do is click the link, join up, and submit your questions in the Covenant Canon Q&A submission page in the community tab. It doesn't necessarily have to be Halo related per se, but it's typical for here. Just make sure that it's appropriate, nothing vulgar or anything like that, or anything creepy of that sort. Yeah, while I answer your questions, I'll be playing some Halo, feebly. There's a reason why I stick to Halo lore. But I think we're gonna start off with classic OG Halo, because why not? I'll just get this all booted up, and while that's going on, I will be answering some questions. So without further ado, let's get started. Also, let me know if there's any, oh, hang on. Let me know if there's any, technical issues, like any echoing or any, lagging or anything like that, because I want to make sure you guys are at least enjoying yourselves while I suck ass at Halo. I'll just get my pop-out chat going on here. Oh, it's Researcher, aka Rising Fire. How's it going, man? Hope you're doing well. Oh, I'll just put that down. Okay, there we are. Hang on a moment. Okay, got that. Got our questions up. Alright, let's get going. Okay, our first question comes from Jedi Spartan, and he asks, have you watched Installation 00's campaign DLC pitch videos? If so, how do you feel about Atriox being kicked out of his own faction by the Endless, mainly to make him side with the protagonist? Well, first off, I haven't seen his videos on alternate campaign DLCs. And as to the other, honestly, I'm not a huge fan of Atriox being made from a villain to a protagonist. That I don't know, that to me does not suit Atriox's whole persona. Like, to me, he's like the main baddie of the new Halo era. So I really don't want him to be reduced to a supporting character. I don't know. That's just my opinion. Okay, moving on to Rising Fire's Princess Light, aka the Researcher, who is also in the live chat. Be sure everyone to say hello to him as well. How did you meet the Halo franchise for the first time? Oh, good question. How did I meet the Halo franchise? Well, frankly, I played Halo 2 back in, when I was like, what was it? I was like 10, 9, around there? Somewhere around there. But, I remembered watching the Arbiter cutscene, the opening Arbiter cutscenes, and that really got me so synced into, oh god, no, trying back, okay. But, what was I? Yeah, ever since then, I've been so obsessed with Halo and, like, the Arbiter and all that stuff, but it wasn't until after, what was it, Halo Reach that I really got into the Halo franchise, because at that time the Sangheili clans were a thing, and I joined up and I was getting more and more intrigued by the Sangheili. I began researching the lore and all that stuff, and from there, it's just history. But yeah. Okay, moving on to another question from Rising Fire. He asked, if you could write your own Halo novel, what title would you give it? I'm not good with titles, my friend. For Halo titles, I don't know. It depends on my own novel. Like I said, for my OC's little fan comic, War Torn, I guess that's the one title I would say to put. I don't know. I'm not really good with the whole titles and all that stuff for novels and stuff like that, but yeah, I'm gonna use War Torn as my own Halo novel if it was made into a novel. Oh no! Oh no! The Obedient Terry just killed that guy. And for those of you who don't know, Obedient Terrys are the official name for the elite majors. Oh! I forgot to miss that guy blowing up. Yeah. Okay, Hiragingu. He asked, hello, I've got a few questions about music. 1. What is your favorite music genre? 2. What is your favorite music band? 3. What is your favorite Halo OST? And 4. A bit weird question, but on what music instruments would your OC would play? Okay. Number 1, I don't really have like a specific genre that I like. I just like any sound that sounds nice, I love. But the one I hate the most, honestly, is country music. Sorry, it just does not appeal to me that much. Oh no! Ah, Sangheili are killing us! Oh no, it's a miner! Ah, bitch, run. Okay. But back to your second question, what is my favorite music band? I would say AC/DC. Either that or Imagine Dragon. Yeah, AC/DC and Imagine Dragon. Those two are the ones that I've concurrently believed that they are the best. And for number 3, my favorite Halo track. Oh man, that's really hard because there's a lot that I enjoy, but I would say, what was the track? If anyone knows the name of the track of Halo 2 Anniversary's opening with the Arbiter, with when we see High Charity for the first time, that track, I forget what it's called. I think it's called Sacred Something. It's something right on the tip of my tongue. But I also love the Banished theme in Halo Infinite, I would say. And for number 4, oh man, that's a hard one, honestly. I don't know the type of music instrument that was used in the... What was the name? What was the name of the instrument used for most of the music in the duel? If my OC, Nakai Vodar, ever had a musical instrument, it would be that. I'm not good with musical instruments, that kind of thing. Alright, let me take care of some of these cubbies before I go on to another question. There we are. Okay, moving on to... Oh, hang on, let me just pause so I can scroll on down. There we are. Alright, Hiragingu asks, why do 4th generation Spartans die so often by the Banished? They were trained by Star Wars stormtroopers? Because I can't find any clear explanation on this. One, I would say because most of the Banished, like a lot of high-ranking Banished elite, have been trained specifically to hunt down Spartans, like the Blood Stars and the Hand of Atriox. Those guys have been specifically bred to take on Spartans. The Covenant, well, let me put it like this. The Covenant did make the Blood Stars to hunt down Spartans originally, but they were, but Spartans weren't their, like, sole focus of target. Humanity itself was. But for the Spartan 4s, they were not... I mean, they had similar augmentations as the 2s and 3s, but the 2s were highly trained more. I would say, I don't want to sound like a too purist, but they were trained in better conditions than the 4s, because 2s were made from kids, whereas 4s are more conscripted soldiers. I don't know if that is a good explanation or not, but I think that's how I would explain why Spartan 4s die on a more regular basis than, say, the 2s or the 3s. Okay, let me take care of this Saint Healy. Ah! There we are. Oh, that's gonna be you on going there. Okay. Oh, no. There we go. Oh, come on! Alright. There we go. Clear them out. Alright. Rising Fire asks, what is the hardest video you made for Covenant Canon? Oh wait, hang on, let me try this again. What is the hardest video you have made for the Covenant Canon channel, and why? Oh, that is a very, 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 very good question. The only one I can think at the top of my head that was supremely difficult were the 2 longest videos that I've made. That being the History of the Covenant series / the long video, and the Ranks of the Covenant. That one was supremely difficult to make. For the History of the Covenant, that was because I had to go on the scripts and redo 1,000 times until it sounded right flowing through my head. And making the charts and all that displaying when this specific event was mentioned or introduced and why and all that stuff, like the source and all that, that was hard. For the Ranks of the Covenant, it was simply gathering the footage, the recordings. Oh my god, the recordings. Those took forever to do, and they wreaked havoc on my voice. But I am glad that those videos ended up being highly successful. I think, honestly, the History of the Covenant is like the most popular in the channel, honestly, at this point. Oh, there we go. Ooh. There we go. Hang on, man. I'm just gonna get something to drink, and then I'll answer some more questions. Okay, moving on to another question from Rising Fire, and he asks, He asks, what are the most tragic Halo characters in your opinion? Oh, that's another good one. The most tragic. Honestly, I would say Master Chief, honestly, is the most tragic, given the fact that he was taken as a kid and made to pretty much a super soldier. Pretty much his entire life has been robbed so that he can become the savior of humanity. Honestly, the way Hunt the Truth made out the whole Spartan 2 program, it really made Chief's entire his entire character seem all the more tragic, honestly, in my opinion. But another personal tragic character, honestly, would be Fal Chavami. If you guys don't know who Fal Chavami is, he was the arbiter from the Halo Legends segment, The Duel, where his wife was pretty much murdered by the Covenant, and he died killing the one who killed her. And the whole role of the Arbiter being made into a mark of shame, that's also tragic in my opinion. But the more recent character that I think has the most tragic, has the worst going about right now, is Lucas Browning. For those of you who don't know who he is, Browning is, was a medical trooper in in Halo Infinite's audio log segment, and also in Rubicon Protocol, where he pretty much sacrificed himself to save some Spartans and some Marines, all the while being mind tortured by the Harbinger. And by the last time we saw him, he pretty much became raving mad. And also, we're gonna see him in the upcoming Halo novel, Edge of Dawn, and I'm very much excited to see how his story will undoubtedly unfold in even more tragic turns. Alright.
We're too close. We need to find another route. Motion tracker shows all clear. We need to get to that.
Alright. Moving on to another question from Rising Fire. He asks, if we ever get a continuation of their story, what do you think will happen with Castor and Inslan Gadagai after the events of Divine Wind? Ooh. That's a very good question. For those who don't know who Castor and Gadagai are, the former was the leader of the Keepers of the One Freedom, a Covenant cultist group that pretty much believes in the Great Journey, but also allows humans in their ranks. Castor was a Dokab, or spiritual leader of the group, until he pretty much left the faction after he learned that the Halos aren't gateways to paradise, but in fact, weapons of mass destruction. Oh, hey guys, how you doing? Oh.
It looks like the Covenant wanted to catch you next.
Hey guys. Oh, where you going? Where you going, huh? Where was I? But yeah. Castor left the group when he learned the truth about Halo, and Inslan Gadagai was, is a Sangheili Blade Master who was under the employ of the Banished until he left the group to join up with Castor. Well, forcibly, but yeah. By the end of Divine Wind, he and Castor pretty much lead both the Banished and the Keepers in pursuit of revenge against everyone who had wronged him. But back to the question, as to what I think will happen with him and Gadagai, Very good question. If I were to make a guess, I would say they're gonna try to access some of the Ark's, oh, what the heck? They would probably try to access some of the same technology that, the Ark's Martyr tried to use against the UNSC, during the events of Hunters in the Dark. The big, oh, what are they called? The big Sentinel breeds. I don't know what they're called. I forget what they're called. Oh, it's gonna drive me nuts now. If someone knows what they are, please let me know in the comments. They were the big Sentinels that pretty much gathered, a whole bunch of, There were big Sentinels that gathered up pieces of planets to rebuild the Ark. I forget what they're called. It's off the tip of my tongue, honestly, and it's driving me nuts. Alright, took care of that guy. But, yeah, I think they're gonna try to access those weaponry and use them against both the Covenant, the Covenant Loyalists, the Banished, and the UNSC. To pretty much make their own army, per se. Retrievers! That's what they are, retrievers. It just got back in my mind. Yes, but yeah. I would say they would probably go after some way of controlling the retrievers and pretty much using them against the forces on the Ark. Yes, that is right. Research is the retrievers. That's what I meant to say. It just occurred to me just before you said that. So, thank you there, my friend. But yeah, back to what I was saying, I would say that Caster and Gadagai might try and find some way of controlling the retrievers and pretty much turn them against the forces on the Ark. Oh. Where am I going? Where am I going? Hold on. Is there wait, where am I going? Oh, where am I going? I forget where I'm going. Oh. Oh, okay. I guess the game had enough of my nonsense. Okay. But yeah. Okay, moving on to another question from Rising Fire, aka the researcher. Considering that many Kaidan sided with the servants of the Abiding Truth during the siege of Kolar, how do you think your character Nakai react at the said situation? Well, at the time of the Blooding Years, I would say at the time of the Blooding Years kicked off, I would say Nakai pretty much stayed neutral during the fighting because he didn't want his keep involved in any more fighting. But he did hold a great amount of respect for the Arbiter, so if I were to make any suggestions, I would say that Nakai would be appalled by the Kaidans immediately siding with what he would view as fanatical rebels. That's what I would say he would react to the situation. But I also say he probably wouldn't act surprised at all because he knew that Civil War was bound to happen in one way or another. Oh, don't shoot. Aw, you shoot me. Oh, no. Oh, I wish there was a hijack, otherwise I would grab at that Banshee. Alright. Alright, moving on to another question from Rising Fire. In your opinion, what's the worst cover art for any of the Halo novels? Ooh. The worst covers. That's a very good question. He has a lot of very good questions. Oh. I don't know, to be honest. I don't really think there was any genuinely bad ones. Well, actually, I think the collection of either Halo Evolutions cover, like the OG cover with just with a blue, red, and other colored Spartan models. I think that's kind of the worst because it's just kind of lazy. Yeah, honestly, I think that's the only covers that I think are genuinely the worst. But aside from that, I honestly, they were all the Halo novels look great in their own different ways. Oh man! I don't know why that shooting shots like that tickled me. Wait. Oh. Oh man, that was too funny. Sorry. Okay. Moving on. That's fine. He'll get up. He'll get back up for the next mission. Oh. Okay. Where was I? Okay. Hirigingu asks, have you ever played the StarCraft series? If yes, what is your favorite faction? Have you listed the Living Tombstone? Have you listed the... I don't know what that is, my friend, so I say no. But in response to your first question, no. I have not played the StarCraft games. Not really my cup of tea, per se. Alright. Okay, moving on to Rising Fire. He asks, is there any popular video game Let's try this again. Is there any popular video game franchise that you probably wouldn't play even if you got the chance to play it? Fallout. Yeah, Fallout. I'm not really into the whole post-apocalyptic settings. It's just been reused a dozen times, and it's just... I mean, I'm not saying it's bad. It's just something that I don't see any point in playing myself. That or the Final Fantasy games. I have no idea what those games are all about. So, yeah. Besides, game anime type things are not my cup of tea. To be honest with you, there's not. Okay, let me pause here so I can scroll on down to more questions. Also, I'm gonna try to not let this drag on too long. I'm probably gonna do at least 2 hours for the stream because I have work early on in the morning and I got some other stuff to do for my separate YouTube channel that I need to get done before the day is done. So I think at 5 o'clock I will call the stream. So if you have your questions, make sure to ask them now in Discord. And like I said, if you don't know where that is, go to the link. It will be in Q&A submissions in the community tab. Okay. Now that I got all that sorted out, let's me return to the questions. Alright. Rising Fire spreads its light asks, what is the best Spartan in your opinion? Come on. The Chief, baby! Yeah. Either Chief... Oh, rip to that guy. Either, I would say Chief... How did I die? Either Chief, Grey Team, or Spartan Olympia Vale. Those are the best Spartans in my opinion. Okay, as a follow-up question from Rising Fire, he asked, who is the worst Spartan in your opinion? Oh man, I'm gonna get so much hate for this. I would say, in terms of the worst Spartans in Halo, probably the worst. Oh, I'm gonna get some hate on this, but I would say the Spartans from Spartan Ops. Like, yeah, I would say a whole lot of them. Like, I can't even say, I would say Majestic, the Spartan Operator that we talked to a bunch of times, I just find them annoying. Even, and I know people are gonna hate me for this, but Sarah Palmer. I mean, she has some of the most inconsistent storytellings in the Halo series that just frustrates me to no end. Like her obsession with Dr. Halsey and then calling it because, oh, we're even now. Sorry, that is just a really BS excuse to just let go your rivalry for some stupid reason. But yeah. Alright, let me take care of this KKR. There we are. Okay. Moving on to Supreme Commander Cam Va-Alamai, aka Cult. And he has a whole bunch of questions, not unlike Rising Fire. And he asks, how are you doing today? I'm doing very well. I'm a bit tired, but I am doing very well. Have you had water today? Not today, but I've been having some Gatorade, because I'm particularly thirsty. Oh, hang on.
If those lifeboats make it down, Covenant are going to be right on top of them.
Okay. Moving on. Would Nakai wear European-style plate armor if he was given the chance? Probably not. I would say he would prefer his own native armor. He would probably be intrigued by the armor, but I wouldn't say he would try and wear it for himself. I don't think he would be particularly interested in old armor. Alright, what is something that you liked about Halo 5 that has nothing to do with the Sangheili? That has nothing to do with the Sangheili. I would say the relationship between Chief and Blue Team. I did like their whole dynamic. It made me want to play them more, which is probably why a whole bunch of people have a lot of polarizing views about Halo 5, let's say.
They're actually broadcasting tactical data on unencrypted channels. We should show them who they're dealing with.
So yeah.
Master Chief, I'm going to...
Alright, what kind of car would you like to own? I'm gonna be a very, very basic bitch here and say a Chevy Camaro. A Chevy Camaro with let me try this again. A yellow Chevy Camaro with black race stripes. because Bumblebee. Sorry, I grew up on the Transformer movies, and yeah, that is the one car I really, really, really want to own. How would you like to see the Legolo explored and expanded on in the Halo lore? Ooh. Honestly, I would like to see Tay, honestly, being expanded. And any colonies the Legolo have ever settled on within the rings of Tay. And also, honestly, a more further look into Colony from Halo Wars, because he honestly gave us a lot to expand on in terms of Legolo physiology, in terms of like the Goliaths, the Skitters, and all that stuff. But yeah, I would say either exploring a Legolo held world, or in terms of oh, hang on, let me take care of this guy. Oh, can I turn on the bridge now? Can I turn it on? No? Oh. Okay. I guess I have to clear out the remaining Covenant? Okay. But yeah, I would say either exploring a Legolo world or expanding on a Legolo character. Come on, guys. Shoot those Ongoi. I almost called them Legolo. They are not Legolo. Legolo are much bigger than these guys. Alright. Is that it? Oh, the bridge is already up. Oh, I'm a dum-dum. Alright. Moving on to another question from Colt. He asked, if you could create a story of if you could create a story... Wait. If you couldn't... Wait, what? If you couldn't create a story for Game of Thrones or Halo. Oh, if I could. Yeah, I would make them for both, honestly. Make stories for both. They're honestly some of my favorite franchises of all time, honestly. But yeah, if I could create a Game of Thrones story, it would probably be a Dunk and Egg story. Set between House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones. And for Halo, honestly, something regarding the Sangheili or the Blood and Gears or their conflict with the Banished or something like that. Any one of those would fit, honestly. Alright. Would you want to see more Sangheili water-based ships appear in the series? Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Sangheili water ships, not unlike UNSC aircraft carriers like we saw in the Halo 3 multiplayer map, which I forget I forget the name of. But yeah, I would like to see more Viking-like Sangheili ships in the future. Okay. The latest story, the Tupalmacy? I'm assuming that's the Waypoint Chronicle. How did you like it? What was something you would love to see more? Oh, it's been a hot minute, so I forget entirely what that is. If someone knows what that is, please let me know in the comments, and I will answer that question when I can. Okay, let's mop the floor with some of these coveys. Oh, hang on. Come on. Oh, hang on. Oh, I'm so glad those things don't EMP my cars. There we are. Okay, moving on to another question. Could a Covenant ship be given more direct Forerunner technology, and how would it affect the function of it? I don't know. Well, in theory, I would say they could. It depends on the technology that... It depends on the set technology, honestly. Oh! Rip to that guy. But in theory, it's possible. And I would say, judging by the power of that set technology, it could create some fluctuations between the ship and its systems. So it depends. It could either enhance the ship increasingly, or it could hinder it in some way.
We read you, Echo 419. We have survivors and need immediate dust off.
But yeah. Alright. Let's move on to some more questions, shall we? Alright. I'll just pause here so I can scroll on down to answer some more juicy questions. Okay. More from Cult, and there's a whole bunch of them. Okay. Why did the Covenant give the Hunters an assault cannon? Were there any other weapons that were considered of use or used? Yeah. Let me try this again. Why did the Covenant give the Hunters an assault cannon? Were there any other weapons options that were considered or used for them? I guess I honestly don't know why exactly they gave the Hunters the assault cannon. I can only say that it may have been because the Hunters could form very big and powerful creatures, and they wanted them to have big and powerful weapons. Probably a cheap-ass answer, but that is what I'm going for. Alright. Let's move on to another landing site. Okay. What would a Covenant Mjolnir look like? I guess the only closest equivalent to a Covenant Mjolnir is probably the battle suit that the Sanshayum prelates wear, because prelates were the closest thing the Covenant had to Spartans. So their combat skins were probably the closest things to a Mjolnir that we will probably ever see for the Covenant. Oh, I'm stuck. Hang on. There. Okay, how would you have written a Spartan killer? Wait, how would you have written the Spartan Killer brothers? What would you give their backstory? I'm assuming you're referring to Hyperius and Tovaris, their cult. If that is indeed the case, I would say, if I could write their story in terms of their backstory, we already got their backstory, as to how they became Spartan killers and all that, but yeah, I don't really know where I can write for their backstory per se, but in terms of their overall role in Halo Infinite, I would have written them much, much better. I would have probably written them as something, a more recurring, a recurring threat for Chief and the UNSC. I would probably have them pretty much pursue Chief all the way. Like, instead of us fighting Tremonius in the first boss fight, I would probably... Well, we could still have Tremonius as a boss fight, but after we defeat him, there's like a cutscene opening with him being killed by Tovaris and Hyperius and then mysteriously vanishing, rather than just seeing dead Spartans everywhere and just assuming that was them. Or maybe reuniting with a few Spartans and only to see them being cut down by Tovaris and Hyperius. Something to give them more of a menacing persona, rather than just dropping them down and just, oh, you killed them, that's it. But yeah. Moving on to the question from Colt, he asked, who would you like to see make an appearance in the games from the stories if we don't count any of the elites? If we don't count any of the elites, like, if you could, who would you like to see make an appearance in the games from stories if we don't count any of the elites? Oh, okay. So, who would I bring? Probably Ilsa Zane, because she's pretty much the antithesis to Chief and Cortana, especially after the more recent Waypoint Chronicle Battle for the Academy Part 2, wherein she and Iratus pretty much become partners, essentially. So yeah, having Zane and Iratus make an appearance in the games would definitely be a nice change of pace to seeing the dark side of Chief, in a way. Alright, if an elite appeared at your door, what food would you offer the... If an elite appeared at your door, what food would you offer to it first? I would offer it Corellian roast? If I could offer them anything, probably chicken, because one of their foods that Buck ate in Bad Blood tasted like chicken. So, yeah. Okay, what would you like to see a dragon appear in Halo? In my headcanon, yes, but in the lore, that would not make any sense at all. So, in my mind, yes. In reality, no. So, yeah. Does the Anvil Station have a future in the Halo games, in your opinion? After Battle for the Academy Part 2, I would say, yeah, there's a distinct possibility for them showing up, because at the end of Battle for the Academy Part 2, oh, well, rip to that guy. After the end of that chronicle, most of the Avery Johnson personnel are pretty much transported to Anvil Station after it fell to the Banished. There is a distinct possibility that we could see Anvil make an appearance in Halo 7, or whatever Halo game Halo Studios is making at the moment. So yeah, I would say that there is a good chance of Anvil making an appearance in the games. Oh! Okay, we got some stuck spirits there, fellas. Oh. Should there be an elite-focused game where we play against the UNSC and some big bosses would be Spartans? How would a story like that work? In terms of the first question, I would love for there to be an elite-focused game like that, but in reality, it's the chances of that happening are slim to none at best. But in terms of the second question, could be something similar to the Arbiter's mission, where a Sangheili commander leading troops against the UNSC and racing against them to find some mysterious Forerunner relic that probably leads them to Reach or some other human planet. Maybe we'll play as that one elite commander that found the Luminary on Meridian. Maybe we play through him before he finds that Luminary. With his own team of elites and jackals and all that. And, yeah. I guess that's what I have thus far, but I'm sure there's plenty of other elite-centered games that could make that work. Alright, I'm gonna jump out of this. There we go. Oof. Yes, I know, Cortana. Okay, moving on to another question from Colt, and he asked, what is the status story for any of the Covenant species, outside of Val Chavami and the Grunt Rebellion? Oh, okay. A sad story for the Covenant. For the Covenant. I honestly don't know. Oh no, I do have one actually. It's, with Neza Kevarosi. The way his story ended in Halo Outcast, that was sad. The way that he and Tam were pretty much wounded and pretty much on the verge of death by both starvation and infection. That is very tragic, I would say, in terms of a Covenant's story. Even though, technically speaking, his end was many years after the Covenant fell, actually. So, but yeah, aside from Fal and the rest, I would say Nizat had a very tragic ending. Alright. Oh, there's a Sangheili there. Okay, let's go after him. Oh. Okay, which of the Grunt characters would be the best one as a friend to hang out with? I would say that one... Actually, there is one, actually. The one sort of Sanghelios grunts that chatted up with that one Sangheili in Halo 5 that told so many outlandish stories, like the Didact and Doisak's name and all that stuff. I forget his name, but that grunt. I would say he would be a great friend to hang out with. If anyone remembers who his name is, please let me know in the live chat, if you can. Oh. Alright. Do you think the Forerunners 1,000 years ago saw the elites and thought, this thing is adorable, picking it up and taking it as a pet? I wouldn't say adorable, but they could use it, but they probably saw them as primitives and probably did want to take them as, maybe not pets, but testing subjects, if that makes sense. So, In a way, yes.
The truth and
But,
reconciliation.
yeah.
A ship I disabled before we abandoned it.
Alright, moving on to another question from Colt, and he asked, would you like to see more of Rippa Mormi? Oh, absolutely. Rippa was a very interesting character, a contradiction for the Sangheili, and I would honestly like to see more of his story play out in some prequel book or comic or something like that, as he tackles with other
There's our ride.
rebellions aside from that one Kigyar and Grunt rebellion he put down, and pretty much seeing his whole story play out and seeing how he became the savage arbiter of Malarok. Alright, who is your favorite ONI personnel? I would say mine is Osman. Ooh, good question. My favorite UNSC, my favorite ONI personnel. I honestly, probably Veronica Dare, I would say. I liked her. Okay, Dimki Hate. Dimki Hate. Yeah, thank you, researcher. You really do live up to your name there, don't you? Alright, let me pause here so I can scroll on down and answer some more questions. Oh my god, Colt, you have such an abundance of questions. Oh my god. Alright, how would you write a sad Halo story? What would it be about? Oh man. I'm not good with writing stories like that.
Inside the ship. I should be able to lock on to the tracking.
I honestly don't know at this right now. Honestly, man, I probably will at some point, but right now I don't really have anything at the moment
Without being spotted.
I can think of at least.
Covenant stationary guns near the next pass.
Okay.
I recommend using your sniper
Moving
rifle.
on to another question. Would it make sense for the elites to have a massive mech suit like the Titans or the Knights from Warhammer universe? I don't really know much about Warhammer and Titan suits and all that stuff, but they kind of do have mechs, like the goblins and all that stuff, but aside from that, there's kind of, aside from that, I don't think there's really any mechs like that, honestly. Oh. No! Oh, I want to try and make sure they don't fire at me. Oh, where are the other grunts?
Alert. A Covenant is making a run for that stationary gun. Take him out.
What? Alright, well, there we are. Yeah, I would say only the goblins and, like, the locust, if that counts as, like, a mech. Probably not. Or the goblin or the locust, I would say. Would probably be the closest thing the Covenant have to mechs. Either that or Decimus's big power suit that we saw in Halo Wars 2. Alright, there we go. Oh, that was bad. Bad move on my part. Alright. Moving on to another question. Do the Sangheili clans have their own armor designs, and are they just carbon copies, or are they just carbon copies of existing armors? Are they allowed to make their own designs? Yeah, I would say they have their own unique armor designs. We saw in Halo Wars, what was it, Uprising? No. Oh, what was the name of that Halo Wars comic? Oh. I'm sure it was called Uprising or Origins or something like that. But it did show that the clan that Ripamormi was trying to overthrow did have their own unique gold armored guards and all that stuff. And their Kaiden had a different armor as well. And I do think in Halo Outcast that several Sangheili Kaidens had their own unique gold pattern armors. So I would say I do think that they do have their own unique armor styles, like the armors that we see all throughout the games. I think it just varies from clan to clan, honestly. Oh, come on. Yeah. Well, there's a reason why I don't do snipers. Okay, moving on to another question. What stopped the Covenant from designing its own power armor? Was it the Hierarchs who made it so that it was not allowed? Yeah, I would say it was the Hierarchs' decision to restrict advancement of technology like power armor and stuff like that for elites, grunts, jackals, and brutes and all that stuff. That's kind of why we saw no power armor in Halo 2, and then what we saw in Halo 3 was because of secret negotiations between Truth and other Covenant ministries and all that stuff. So I think the advancement of technology was solely set by the Hierarchs and all that stuff, because the Sanshayum were like the heads of technology for the entire empire. So, yeah. How would you imagine humanity would have ended up if they were accepted into the Covenant and there was no war between the two factions? That's kind of hard to imagine, honestly. If, like, let's say that Truth, Mercy, and Regret didn't find the Mendicant Bias copy in the Dreadnought, and humanity was just offered a place into the Covenant, I would say it would probably be a very contentious alliance, I would say, because the Covenant is pretty much a religious order, and as we know, humanity isn't exactly unified in terms of religious beliefs and all this stuff. So that would definitely lead to a large contention with the other races. If not war, then definitely rivalry, like what we saw with the Sangheili and Jerohanai, or the Kigyar and the Ungoi. Something like that, I would say. Alright, moving on to another question from Colt. What would you like to see from season... What would you like to see from season... Why can't I say it? What would you like to see from season 3 of the Halo TV show? Well, seeing as there is no third season at this time, if there was ever going to be a season 3 of the TV show, honestly, it would probably have to be a big overhaul of, like, certain characters and factions, stuff like that. Like, Maquis, the UNSC versus the Covenant on Halo, pretty much trying to recreate what we saw in Halo the Flood, pretty much. Though, like I said, the TV show was canceled and all that stuff, so odds of that happening are slim to none at this point. Oh! I just got double shot with one kill! Oh. That was sick. Okay. Right. Oh, okay, I skipped a question. What do you think a grunt would taste like? Remember, the one Marine says they taste like lobster. In that case, I would say lobster or something seafood-ish, I would say. I don't know. I don't think anyone's really actually ate an Ungoi. Alright. Moving on to another question. Do you think Gatanai... Okay. Do you think Gatanai's story ended well? How would you have changed it? Varg Gatanai, aka the Arbiter that we saw on the Halo TV show, I don't know. I knew that his story was gonna end at the end of season 2, but even so, I would have changed it where he wasn't killed but heavily injured and fled with Maquis and seeking to activate Halo like she did when Gatanai died. Because Gatanai had the potential of being something like the Arbiter that we saw in Halo in the games. But I don't know. I actually really liked his story as the show progressed. I don't know. He was cool looking, I liked the armor, and I would like to know more about his background and why he was made the Arbiter in the first place. But yeah. And also, but back to the original question, for the context of the show, yeah, but on the context of the lore side and story, character-driven, I would like to learn more about him, honestly. I don't know, that's just my opinion. Okay, where do you see Halo go in the next 5 years? What stories would you think will be made? Honestly, I think where we'll go for the next 5 years, I think it's going to be mainly set on Zeta Halo with the UNSC going off against the Banished and potentially the Endless. And I think it will set off the Banished as like a very real threat for Halo at this point, because honestly, they've been participating in a lot of battles and conflicts ever since the Created fell. So I would see it being a major war with the Banished in the next 5 years, in answer to that question. And what stories will I make? Probably something in regards to Atriox's return and how he pretty much brings all the warring factions on the Banished on Zeta together and pretty much taking the fight to Chief and the UNSC. So. Oh. Spec Ops! Ah, come on! Okay, moving on to the question from Colt. Who are your favorite female characters in Halo, other than Tool Jiran? I would say, in terms of female characters, I would say Miranda Keyes from the OG games. Who else? Veta Lopez from the Ferret novels. And, what's her name? Olympia Vale. I liked her story in Hunters in the Dark. Also, for those who don't know, the author of that book recently passed away. So, let us all wish his family our best condolences. Ooh, hang on. Flanking time! Alright, moving on to another question from Colt. There's a whole bunch of them, by the way. Are there more than one War Academy? Is there more than one War Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. My brain is mush today. Are there more than one War Academy for the Sangheili, or is it just one? Oh, okay. He's referring to the Iruru. He's Ah, I can't think today. He's referring to the Iruru Academy on Yurimo on St. Helios. And honestly, I don't think that there is more than one War Academy. I'm sure there's plenty of others on Sangheili Worlds and on St. Helios itself. But I would say Iruru was probably one of the most prestigious. Kind of like Harvard for the Sangheili, if that makes sense. But I'm sure there's probably an Oxford or Brown or something like that. There we go. Oh. Oh. Alright, let me just pause here so I can scroll on down to answer some more questions. Blah, blah, blah. Oh my god, Colt. Okay, are there more than... Wait, I already answered that one. How would the elites play instruments with a flute? I have no idea, Colt. I don't know why you have these weird things, but honestly, I'm not really that into, like, the physiology of the Sangheili. I would say they would probably join their mandibles together in something like a mouth, kind of like what they do with the Kilo 5 books, and play a flute like that, I guess. I don't know. What mythology do you want to see explored more in Halo? The Sangheilis. I want to learn more about Uruz, Fide, and Jory, and how their lore fits with the rest of Halo. We've already seen the Hall of Eternity expand on in subsequent Halo stories, like in Waypoint Chronicles and novels. So, yeah. How would you feel if the Brutes saw a Sasquatch when they landed on Earth? How would they react to that? They would probably say, "Hail, Pack Brother!" or something like that. They would probably see a Sasquatch pretty much like a Brute, maybe. I don't know. Alright. What is the ugliest armor in the Covenant that you like? The Storm armor. I would say, yeah. The Elite Storm armor. Especially the one with the sleeves, like we saw with the Swords of St. Helios. Yeah. Okay, moving on to another question from Colt. Are you tired of these questions that I bombed with you every month? This one, yes, because you have like a whole shit ton of it, my friend. Oh my god, it's like I could do one stream on these. Okay. The next operation seems to look great. What are your thoughts on it? I'm assuming you're referring to the battle for the Academy. And, yeah, it does look great. I haven't played much of Infinite lately because I've had to make some room for MCC and for my other projects in YouTubing. So, I have yet to play it myself. But I'm sure it is a lot of fun. Ooh. Okay, what is the, oh, I skipped one. What is the ugliest armor in the UNSC that you like? I would ugly, that's, I don't know about ugly, but the, Oni pattern UNSC armor that we see in Halo 4, I like those. Those look pretty good. A lot can be improved when you add black and white. No, 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 no. If you could choose a holiday destination right now, where would you go? Probably London. Yeah, I would say London. In terms of a vacation spot. But in terms of Halo universe, probably St. Helios. Or maybe Brunello. Seems very nice and chilly there, and I like chili. Oh, hang on. Oh boy, okay. Oh, I'm being bombarded. Oh, I'm being bombarded. Okay, I'm running. Oh boy. There. Oh, jeez, there we go. Okay, what sort of stories do we like? What sort of stories do you like? Hang on. What sort of stories do you like the most to read? Is it those stories that are sad and depressing, yet still cool, or grim and dark stories? I guess somewhere in the middle of that, like a gritty war story, kind of like what we saw in Rubicon Protocol, but I would say more inspirational, kind of like what we saw in Empty Throne, something like that. I don't know. I think Empty Throne had the best mix of war but yet hopeful tones, something like that, I guess. Okay, which Wraith, Ghost, and Banshee variants are your favorites? In terms of all three, Halo Reaches. Those were my absolute fun to play with. Yeah, Halo Reach. Alright, let me just stop here and hope this is the last of them. Oh my god, yes! Last question from Colt. Oh my god. Sorry guys for flooding you with his Could there be a St. Healy power armors shown in stories one day? Power armors. I'm not sure. I mean, we already have St. Healy power armor, but if you're referring to like what we saw with Mjolnir and for Jirohanai armor, I don't know, because we never really seen those. So I think the chances of them appearing are more than slim to none, because Jirohanai power armor are significantly weaker than that of St. Healy. But yeah. Okay, moving on to Rising Fire Spreads Its Light. And he has as much, if not more, questions than Colt. So thank you, researcher. I don't know if you're still here, but yeah. What is your favorite element or concept in general in Halo lore? Honestly, I would say expanding the lore of the Covenant, the St. Healy, and all other factions beyond just Halo, because I've had a chat with Haruspas during Halo Worlds back in 23, and he said the best part about Halo is that it isn't just about humans, it's about other alien races in Halo, like the Forerunners, the St. Healy, and all other characters. So yeah, I think that's my favorite concept of Halo's lore, because it doesn't just stick to just the UNSC or other human stories. It goes beyond that, and it fleshes out their cultures and personalities in a way that connects with humanity itself. I don't know if that's makes sense or not, but yeah. Oh, fair enough, researchers. Fair enough. I had expected them to pile up, but not to this extent. Alright. As a follow-up question, what is your least favorite element or concept in Halo's general lore? I think it's kind of a follow-up to my answer, honestly, because we've seen a whole lot of human stories, but very little solely focused on the Covenant. The best example of a Covenant-centered story was Broken Circle, and that is honestly my favorite Halo novel to date, honestly. So the fact that there is less of those novels in Halo nowadays, that is my least favorite portion of the lore, because we don't have much novels exploring them. And honestly, I don't think there's a whole lot of explanation in terms of like the lesser races of the Covenant, like the ongoing Kigyar. We do have a whole lot to know about the brutes and the elites, but we don't know much about the Ungoi, the Kigyar, the Lagolo, and the other less known races like the Yonhet, the Sharkoi, and the Dazarim. Alright, let me just clear out some of these Kigyar here, and I'll answer some more questions. Oh, there's one more. Where are you? Hey, Avocatus, come here. Or not an Avocatus, Obedientary. Okay. Alright, I'm just gonna back away from here, let the Marines take care of that one guy. Alright. Do you like to read other books aside from Halo novels? Yes I do actually, Rising Fire. I've been reading a lot of the A Song of Ice and Fire books lately, aka the Game of Thrones novels. I know there's a whole bunch of you who like, ugh, Game of Thrones, I don't care about that stuff. But honestly, the lore in that is just as extensive as Halo's, if not more so. But yeah. Okay, moving on to another question from Rising. He asked, what is the most important aspect of a Halo game or for you? Story, gameplay, art style? I would say story and gameplay. Those two joining hands is kind of the reason why I love Halo 2 and Halo Infinite so much, because the story revolves around the characters and around the action a bit. For Halo 2, it's exploring the Arbiter and the Covenant more, delving into them. For Infinite, it was exploring the characters of both Chief and Fernando Esparza. And in terms of gameplay, I mean, honestly, both games just did a fantastic job of immersing ourselves with boss fights, different enemies, and unique settings. At least in my opinion. There's Lot. Ravami. Sorry, Lot, you made me do this! Rip, Shipmaster. You did the Covenant proud. Regret was wise to christen you. Alright. Oh, there we are. Alright, moving on to another question from Rising Fire. Is there any Halo novel that you probably wouldn't read again for any reason? Any novel that I wouldn't read for any reason? I don't know. Maybe... I don't know, maybe Rubicon Protocol, because it's extremely dark for a Halo novel. Like, very, very dark. But that's not to say that it was bad at all. It was very enjoyable to read, but the gloom of it all. I'm not sure I would want to read that again for a little bit, given the whole situations that's going on in the real world, which I will not disclose. But yeah. Okay. If you could change anything, about the Covenant's lore, what would you change? I honestly don't know. If I could change anything in the Covenant lore, if anything, I would delve. If I could change anything, it would probably be delving into the less known Covenant races more, like the Fringe and all that stuff.
There are probably multiple detention stations.
No.
There must be in one of them. We need to keep looking for it.
Yeah, I would say probably expand the lore on like the lesser races of the Covenant more if I could change anything else. So yeah. All right. Oh, let's see how I can do it. Yeah. Oh, let's try again. Oh, so another St. Healy's out there. Wonder who? Oh, come on. Oh, dinner double. With that stealthily and all that stuff. I wonder who I honestly wonder who this zealot could be. We already met the shipmaster and all that, but maybe this was his second in command, maybe? Maybe. Alright, let's let you out of your cell, Keys. Alright. Moving on to another question from Rising. What Halo game have you played the most across the years? Halo 2. Honestly. Halo 2, that is the one game I've been playing the most out of any other. But in more recent years, I would say Halo Infinite, because it's my second favorite Halo novel to date, without question. I love the story, I love Escharum, and I love The Banished. So yeah. Alright. Just gonna... Oh, that's another one. Say hello to my little friend! Alright. Oh, more of them? There we go. Okay. Let's scroll on down, shall we? Alright. As a follow-up question, what Halo game have you played the least across the years? Halo 4. Sorry, I know there's a whole lot of Halo 4 fans out there, but I'm sorry. I'm not really as invested in that story as some people are. So yeah, Halo 4. Yeah. Okay. Rising Fire asks, who has been the best Halo novel writer in your opinion? Troy Denning. Troy's been doing a fantastic job with both, stealth! Yeah, Troy Denning has done a great job expanding Halo lore and actually making very expansive ways. That kind of thing. I particularly liked Silent Storm, Outcast, and what else? And Divine Wind. Those were great novels, and I would read them any time of the week. Okay, hold on a minute. I gotta drink something because my throat is sore at the moment.
Yes, Captain. There's a Covenant dropship still docked.
Alright, there we go. Alright, we have another half an hour before I will call it quits. So let's make the most of it, shall we? Alright, where was I? Oh, Have you ever tried to play Lasso for any of the Halo games? Yes, I have. Once for Halo Reach, and it was an entire clusterfuck. Oh my god. I tried to play Lasso once, and I immediately regretted the decision. I regretted it with immense passion. It was, oh my god, it was just chaos. It was just utter chaos, man. Oh, man. Oh, come on. There we are. Alright, let's move on to another question. Who has been your least favorite Halo novel writer? I don't honestly know. I don't know the name of the author of, the Kilo 5 novels, but if I could choose any, novelist, I would say probably that guy. I forgot his name, so, I'm sorry. What is the most annoying type of enemy in Halo games for you? Think of the Flood rocket, the rocket launcher Flood from CE, or the Brute Chieftains, for example. The most annoying types of enemies are very simple. The Flood in general, but yes, the Rocket Flood are the most irritating beings in existence. I don't like the Flood at all, and I would much rather fight the Covenant, or the Banished, or the Prometheans for that matter, against the Flood. I hate them with a dying passion. But another annoying enemy is the Watchers from Halo 4 and 5. The way they chuck grenades and just recharge enemies is just... oh my god, they're just the worst. There we are. Moving on to another question from Rising Fire. Is there any Halo novel that you consider to be overrated? Overrated? Maybe. Honestly, I would say Fall of Reach. I honestly would say Fall of Reach, honestly, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Fall of Reach is a great novel. I think it's just overhyped too much a bit, in my opinion. I think that the success of that novel has overshadowed like so many other great novels that many people are just Fall of Reach, and just don't really consider like First Strike, Broken Circle, and any other Halo novel worth their time, honestly. But like I said, that is not to say that Fall of Reach is a bad novel. It is absolutely not a bad novel. It is a great novel. I just think that it's kind of overhyped too much. But yeah. As a follow-up question, is there any Halo novel do you consider to be underrated? Oh, that one is easy. Broken Circle. Broken Circle is so underrated, but should be... oh my god. I just love... see, the reason why I love Broken Circle is because it does something unique out of all the Halo novels. There is not a single human in it. It is purely focused on the Covenant. If we get something like that for like the Banished or any of the other Covenant Remnant groups, I would be solely into it. But yeah. I would say Broken Circle would definitely be the most underrated Halo novel and should be given a lot of attention by Halo fans, in my opinion. Alright, I'm going to leave this card here. Alright, would you like to see a conflict between the Swords of St. Helios and the Order of Restoration in future media? Oh, absolutely. I would love to see them expanded. Oh, come on. Yeah! Suck it, Zealot!
I underestimated the Covenant's understanding of Halo's subsystems. They've locked the doors.
Alright.
We don't have enough firepower to get through them.
Yeah, I would definitely like to see conflict between the swords and the Order. They like the Order represents the very antithesis of what the swords are trying to do. The swords pretty much want to eradicate the Covenant entirely and build a new and better world. The Order pretty much wants to restore the status quo. Come on. Come on, guys. Let's go. Yeah, I mean, we've already seen a conflict brewing up with the Order and the Swords in Empty Throne, but I would love to see it expanded more in future stories, honestly. I'm not entirely sure how it would pan out. I would probably see the conflict escalating with Artos and the Shadow of Intent hunting down Nesto and Vol, and honestly bringing a Sword of St. Helios fleet against Cloister. That would probably be a very good way of introducing their whole conflict brewing up. But yeah. Alright. Just kill these cubbies here. Move on to more questions. There we go. Just pause so we can scroll on down. Ah, we finally got someone that isn't cult or lighting fire. Minister of Congression. He asked, do you think there's any specific Covenant remnant group that could join the Order of Restoration? Oh, plenty of people, honestly. I would say Loro Talume's faction, the Supreme Commander we saw in the package. Who else? Probably, most likely, Das Bosvod's loyalist, if he ever makes his way off of the Ark. Who else? I'm sure there's others at the moment, but those are the most notable examples. And I'm sure there's others that could join up with the Order at some point. Because also there's that one mercenary clan, the Shields of Requiem. They could potentially join up with the Order as well, because they also believe in the Great Journey, but they're more of a religious mercenary group after Jules' Covenant fell apart. And, yeah, I would say either them or some other post-war faction, because all the Covenant remnant groups claim to rule the Covenant, and as we saw in Empty Throne, Nesto pretty much brought one of the most powerful Covenant groups remaining to his side. So it's definitely plausible that he could do the same with others. Okay, moving on to a question from Rising Fire. What do you think of Vol Saran's betrayal and his motivations for joining the Order of Restoration? Oh, for Vol, he's a traitor. He's a filthy, filthy traitor that deserves a special place in hell alongside Mickey, and, yeah. He's a traitor and a Nishum, in my opinion. But I do understand his reasons for joining the Order. He's kind of like the old school who believe that restoring the status quo will bring the Sangheili back to prominence. And I can see why he thinks that, because after the Covenant fell, the Sangheili immediately fell to civil war and had a whole bunch of problems brewing up.
Good. That should open the door that leads.
Oh yeah, it's a zealot. Hi, Mr. Zealot. But yeah, I would say there is a lot of potential for his character being expanded more in whatever sequel series of Empty Throne, or sequel book to Empty Throne, I would say. All right. Oh, sorry about that. I'm very tired right now, as you can tell by my voice. We got about 15 more minutes, and then I think I will call it. But yeah, okay. Alright, let's see. Okay, what is the most terrifying or tense soundtrack you ever listened to in the Halo franchise? Oh, the track with the flood appearing, with the kind of like the in CE, I forget what it's called. It's like the like I forget. I realize that is not a whole lot to go on, but I'm not the best when it comes to names of tracks, to be honest. But yeah. Okay, let's move on to another question. Do you think the servants of the Abiding Truth had a good motivation to start the conflict with Velvedam and his people, as seen in the Kilo 5 novels? Yes and no. Yes, in the way that I think that he believes that the Arbiter betrayed the gods of his people and all that. But at the same time, the servants pretty much are a pre-Covenant faction that believes in the old way of believing in the Forerunners, and I seriously doubt that they would really care that much about the Arbiter's relationship with humanity and all that stuff. So it's kind of a weird sort of yes-no type deal with them, if that makes sense. Probably not. I'm not the best at explaining things like this. Alright. Rocket! There we are. Eat my rocket. Alright. Moving on to another question from Rising Fire, and he asks, considering that the story is currently focusing on the conflict between the Banished and probably the Order of Restoration in the future, what do you think is going to happen in regards to the conflicts between the servants of the Abiding Truth? I think their days are definitely numbered, especially under Jules' son, Dural and Dama, because as we saw in Legacy of Onyx, they are pretty much reduced to a very small gathering as opposed to what we saw in Kilo 5. So whatever sequel book is being made about Legacy of Onyx, I would say that would probably be the final nit in the coffin for the servants. Eat my rockets! Oh, hang on. Alright, let's go to... Yeah, I think it is. Is this? Yes, it is. Oh! Oh, I dodged a bullet there. I honestly thought I was going to blow up that time. Oh my god. Alright, let me just clear out some of these cubbies. Time to run. Oh! 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 I dodged a bullet there. Oh my god, I thought I was going to die that time. Oh? Am I... Aha, I'm here. I'm at the cartographer. Alright, there we are. Got the map. And that's cool. Alright. Moving on, let's get back to the questions. Rising Fire asks, was Sully Neon's motivations to join Dobonesto and the Order of Restoration based on his desire for the Saint Healy to return to glory, his faith in the Covenant, or both? His faith in the Forerunners, or both? Both, I would say. Equal hand. Because, due to his, shaky relationship with Jewel and all that, he probably wants to see the Covenant go back to the old ways. Not where we had to rely on humans and all that stuff, but rely on solely the prophets and the Covenant and such. And, yeah, I would say his fate definitely played a big role in, joining up with Dobonesto. And I think he pretty much wanted to see the Covenant revert back to what it was before the schism broke out. So yeah, but in short, both. Okay. Oh man, I'm always struggling to go back where I found him. Oh, where the heck am I going? Up here? Is it up here? I'm assuming up here. Yes, it's this way. Okay. Ooh. Alright. Right. Moving on to another question. Oh, from Hiragingu. Here we go. Alright. What do you think will happen to the Banished if Aatrox will die? What do you think the Banished will think about human rebels that join the Banished? P.S. I hate them because I think they are terrorists and traitors. In regards to your first question, Hiragigu, I think that they will... I mean, at the moment, they do have a leader, an interim leader, Severin. He's in charge of the Banished at large right now. But on Zeta Halo, they will probably fall to infighting and division. That's pretty much what they did when Escharum was in charge, but that was more of a regularized fractionalism that held in place while Escharum was in power. But in terms of the wider Banished, with Severin in charge, I don't see them falling apart per se, but I would say they would probably be in a more fractious state. And in regards to your second question, after Doisak, I would say Banished relationship with humans is dicey at best. So human rebels joining up with the Banished, I don't think they would really see them as traitors, but I don't think they would wholly trust them either. If that makes sense. But at the same time, we do have Ilsa Zane, and she did command a dreadnought and Banished forces, so it depends, really. Okay. Am I near the end of this mission? Oh, there's a zealot! Oh! 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 Well, that was stupid of me. Oh, man. That was very, very dumb of me. I don't know why I did that. How did that not kill him? Alright. Yeah. Yeah, I would say the Banished would probably treat human rebels as allies, but still keep them at a wide distance of trust, if that makes sense. Alright, moving on to Rising Fire, he asks, what do you think the Swords of St. Helios that verbally doubted Thalvadam's and exposed his admiration? What do you think of the SOS St. that verbally doubted Thalvadam and expressed his admiration for Celine Yan at the 9th level of Halo 5 Alliance? I mean, it's kind of interesting to see that some within the Swords actually don't like Thalvadam. I'm going to assume that they were conscripted to join the Swords while secretly having sympathies with other Covenant leaders. I don't know. I think that St. Hilly's days are numbered if he continues to express what he expressed with that one guy. So, yeah. Alright. Oh, how did that not kill that guy? Oh. Whoa! Alright, I think I'm going to answer one more question, and I think that will call it for this stream, because it's almost 5 right now, and I'm very tired. Alright, as a follow-up question, what do you think about what do you think about Atriox's comments on having spies on St. Helios and other possible defectors from the Swords? I mean, yeah, it's interesting to see that Atriox has such a has powerful connections on St. Helios itself, that he really is shaping up to be a really big threat for not only humanity, but for the St. Heli and any others that oppose him. Oh, hang on. Yeah, and honestly, it's surprising to see how many St. Heli Kaidans are actively supporting the Banished, as opposed to what we saw in Halo Wars 2. That's just a St. Heli Shipmaster. It really shows the charisma that Atriox displays and how much of an impact he's made in Halo, in terms of the lore scale, I would say. But yeah, I think that will do it for this stream. Thank you guys for joining up with me as I answer all your questions from Discord and watching me be very, very terrible at this. So I'm just going to leave a mark for the next question I need to answer for next month. But yeah, thanks guys for joining up. As always, if you guys want to have your questions answered for next month's Q&A live stream, all you need to do is join up on the Discord. If you don't know where that is, again, it's in the description box below. All you need to do is click the link, join up, and submit your questions in the Q&A submissions in the community tab. Like I said, all you need to do, it doesn't necessarily have to be Halo related, but it's common. And just like I said, make sure that it's appropriate, nothing vulgar, or anything creepy like that. But yeah, thank you guys again for joining up with me, and I will see you next month. But until then, may the light of the rings guide your path. Victory to Clan and King, Covenant fans. Covenant Canon, out.